Hello friends, and welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for coming to take part in our video today. Once again, taking time out of your busy lives to spend this time together, and once more focusing on the light and the love and the beauty of spirit within us, and likewise spirit who've travelled onwards, our beloveds, our companions, and those in the next world that perhaps you may choose to call heaven or the afterlife. They are just so very, very happy to draw close and to share with you and offer their words for you to consider and think about if you wish to. And as always in these times when we come together, it's not only about the words that are spoken and shared and expressed from my spirit friends. It's very much about the interactive experience that we encourage you to notice what you notice how you feel in this moment. And perhaps if you wish to at the end, notice again how you feel, what changes may have occurred. And likewise, to engage with your own mediumistic gifts. For we all have the gift of mediumship, whether we choose to actively explore that in our physical earthly incarnation or not. Nevertheless, we are all naturally mediumistic because we are all spirit. And within our spirit, our divine light within us has a multitude of gifts and facets and aspects, some of which we know about and some perhaps at the moment that have yet to unfold. But nevertheless, in these opportunities, we really do encourage you to engage with that aspect of yourself, your spirit self, and your mediumistic gifts. So just get a sense in your own unique way of how you may feel the vibration around you, the energy within the room or the location of which you're seated, where you are. Do you feel a closeness? And if so, how do you feel that? Perhaps you may notice a change in temperature, and albeit that could be to do with the weather in the earthly world, but likewise very much in these times, your beloveds wish to make themselves known to you and to let you know just how close they are. And so sometimes there can be those differences and changes within the temperature. Perhaps you may sense a tingling feeling, perhaps something else altogether. And we're very mindful that whilst we give examples, that we're not filling your mind with all different thoughts of what may or may not occur, or the aspect of auto-suggestion. But very much just notice what you notice as best you can. Notice how you feel, notice the environment. And likewise when we're working, if at any time throughout our recording, our video, your eyes are open and you're looking, then just see if you can see my spirit friend. See if you notice any changes within the physicality of my own face as he blends his power and his vibration and his presence with me. As you've come to discover, but perhaps for any new friends joining us today, when my spirit friend Brian works with me, there are changes to my voice, so that's a very noticeable aspect. But nevertheless, there are also these subtle changes, these subtle aspects. So just see if you can look out for those. Notice what you notice again, if you wish to. So in a moment, I'm going to open in prayer. Something that we like to do once more, just to invite our spirit friends, our beloveds, close in this time, in this special, wonderful opportunity that it is that we can come together and be immersed in that light and love and healing power that our dear ones so abundantly bring to all of us. But once more, as we like to acknowledge that if prayer isn't your particular cup of tea, then no problem at all, then just skip that part. But nevertheless, once more, that's something that very much we like to do and to offer. And then I will take a few moments to blend together with my spirit friend Brian and endeavour to surrender my mind, to let go, so that his words and the words of the Spirit Collective with him, our team, so to speak, can inspire my mind and channel through their words that they wish to share and offer today, as opposed to my own thoughts, very much focusing upon what they wish to bring. And then, when we've concluded our time together, when my spirit friend steps back, I will then draw our time together to a close in prayer once more. So as previously, dear friends, just take a moment to be comfortable and just make any adjustments that you may wish to as we come together now in prayer. Divine Spirit, Mother Earth, Father God, as we join you in this moment, we do so in love and we do so in gratitude for the way in which these opportunities are able to emerge in our earthly lives, and that your gentle encouragement and inspiration gently guides us towards these opportunities. We thank you for your closeness every day of our lives, whether we fully know or understand of your closeness or not. We are reassured of the countless opportunities whereby you have made it known clear to us of your closeness, and you do speak of this, the way in which you help us in our lives and bring comfort and upliftment in those times when we have great need, and likewise the way in which upon those happy and joyful occasions and time of celebration, equally you are by our side celebrating with us, joyful, smiling and laughing and having fun with us, energetically and in your thoughts. We thank you, Divine Spirit, for the way in which your blessed divine power and your healing becomes made manifest in the earthly world. That with our openness and our intentions and our own invitation and willingness and desire, that we are able to receive that blessed love and healing power and light and all that you bring to us in such abundance, without any condition at all, completely unconditional. We thank you, Divine Spirit, also for our lives in the earthly world, for all those opportunities to explore, and hopefully grow in our understanding in so many different areas of life. We thank you for our physical earthly bodies and the miracle that they are, which afford us this life in the earthly world, so that we may engage with solid matter, so to speak. And even when our physical bodies do have aches and pains, or ailments or disease, and that we may suffer enormously, we are reminded that still our physical body is a miracle, is an act of God, however we perceive and understand God to be in our own unique way. We thank you for our minds, that we may think and process and understand, and once more hopefully grow in our understanding, that we may continue to awaken and take those small steps towards enlightenment, in howsoever way or ways that that may be for each of us. We thank you also, Divine Spirit, for our emotional selves, for the way in which we feel. Once more, the joy and the suffering in the earthly world and everything in between, which in turn also helps us to learn and hopefully grow in our understanding once more. And also, Divine Spirit, we thank you for this light, our own spirit at the core of our being, this pure sphere of light, made of love and compassion and understanding and grace and beauty and truth and so much more. Please help us, Divine Spirit, to continue to engage with our own spirit within, once more in our own unique way. So that we can hopefully fully reach our potential in our earthly lives. Whatever that potential may be, we thank you. And finally, Divine Spirit, I ask that in this time that you use me as your clear channel in truth and love and humility with all that is said and done. Please help me to let go, to surrender my mind, to become still, in order that your blessed light, your power, your inspiration may be channeled through and offered to the dear ones in the earthly world who wish to receive. I ask, Divine Spirit, that you please be with me, and likewise be with each and every one of us. in this time of unity and love. Amen. Dear ones, we're delighted once more to join you, to be present closely to your own spirit, your own light within, and in turn to be close to yourselves as a whole, as our own dear one has encouraged you this day, to notice that which you feel about you. Notice that there is a stillness that gently has built, most beautifully, around you and about you. I encourage you to take a moment, if it is your desire to do so, to notice what you notice, as our own dear one has invited you to do so also. This change has occurred, you see, because of our closeness to you. We bring our love and our peacefulness and offer it to you, if it is your desire once more to receive it, to immerse yourself within it, perhaps to bathe within it in this time of closeness together, for your highest good, to perhaps bring a stillness and a calm to the mind, perhaps to soften matters of the heart and the emotion, perhaps to bring physical respite, in the dearest hope that you may feel refreshed and enlivened from having spent this time of closeness together. Dear ones, we understand most acutely the ongoing struggles and difficulties of which each of you face. Perhaps some of these difficulties have similarities, but likewise there are those aspects which are unique to each of you. And of course, these differences cannot help but manifest due to the nature of your own unique lives, your own unique physical earthly incarnation. We understand, of course, the ongoing additional difficulties, aside from those aspects of which you are all undertaking and embracing as best you can, but the additional difficulties as this virus does still move and exist and germinate within the earthly world. We understand, dear ones, that as the days and the weeks and the months have indeed passed by since this virus was known of globally, and the connotations and the enormous difficulties and suffering that humanity has endured, there has quite understandably been born great, great fear, even more so than the aspect of fear that was living and breathing in the earthly world as was before this virus entered it, so to speak, and manifested. So, dear ones, this day we should like to speak with you in regard to the subject matter of fear. For we feel at this time it is of particular relevance to each of you, once more to varying degrees. Of course, this fear, this emotion, and the connotations of such have always existed in the earthly world. It is part of your humanity and the embodiment of your humanity. For each of you it is a most extraordinarily valuable lesson. And of course we fully understand that there are those times in life, in the earthly world, whereby you really feel that you have conquered a particular lesson or a particular facet of which you struggle with and find difficult in the earthly world. Perhaps many years then do pass and some chain of events may occur whereby you react quite rightly, quite understandably, and in doing so you then discover that that particular emotion, that particular lesson perhaps had not been overcome completely successfully in the way in which you felt that it had done so many years previous. And perhaps when this occurs, you may feel quite disheartened to discover, here I am again. But let us say to you, dear ones, that indeed when this does occur, please know that you have overcome very well many facets of that particular lesson, that particular emotion. But there will also be further times in life, in the earthly incarnation, whereby perhaps you may feel you are being tested, and you see your own divine light, your spirit within, once more encourages every opportunity to refine itself, to grow in its understanding, to evolve, to take another step toward awakening and enlightenment. So upon those occasions where there is a realization, or perhaps you may feel deflated and that you have not learned the lesson as a result of the emotion which has then been triggered, please know that you have indeed learned much surrounding that particular lesson. But there can be these aspects within life whereby opportunity is given to serve as a reinforcement, so to speak, to see how you shall react and respond. You may feel that there does seem to be the aspect of cruelty within this, but you see it is our understanding that that is not the case. For all opportunities and lessons and difficulties that you face in the earthly world, believe it or not, are born of love for your highest good, and that everything that you undertake within the earthly life, the physical earthly incarnation, is that which you have agreed to do so, albeit that you do not remember that which you have agreed to when entering the earthly world, when physically manifesting and being born of your mother. But yet you see your divine light, your spirit within, has that knowledge and that understanding, and knows exactly what is what, so to speak. And that is why in your earthly physical incarnation, you are gently navigated to exactly the time, the place, the opportunities, and so forth that are then presented before you. Of course, as we have spoken previously with you, albeit in a different context, you always have your own free will and choice. And if it is the case that you find yourself in circumstances which perhaps are most abhorrent and most challenging, and you decide to take yourself off, so to speak, and remove yourself from those circumstances, perhaps, let us use an example, perhaps to move from your home and to seek a new residency, of which you can then call home, perhaps in a different town, perhaps even in a different country. Perhaps you may feel the desire to start again, so to speak. Then, of course, dear ones, that is your own free will and choice. But nevertheless, it is known by those in our world that for every difficulty and every lesson and challenge that you do face in the earthly world, there is great potential to continue, to evolve, to learn, to awaken, so to speak, through that difficulty and that adversity. We do understand, dear ones, that for many of these difficulties and challenges and lessons in the earthly world, once more, the aspect of fear cannot help but run through it, so to speak. And as you would all know and understand in your own unique manner, the power of fear can be all-consuming and literally can fix you to the spot, so to speak. Frozen with fear, we believe the expression in modern times to be. You see this power, this vibration of fear that does indeed manifest, is born of the initial experience, or that which you have been on the receiving end of, so to speak. And fear, as we understand it, is born of uncertainty and perhaps confusion. And you see, once those aspects engage with your mind and with your emotional self, then these aspects cannot help on many occasions but to fuel each other, so to speak. Therefore, it may well be that within your mind there is uncertainty and confusion and fear, and a sense of a lack of knowledge as to the way forward, perhaps, in a difficult situation, difficult circumstances. And this, in turn, cannot help but create an emotional fear and upset, which does then have the power to exacerbate the mind. And likewise, the power of your mind and your thoughts also in turn can exacerbate and increase the emotional vibration of that fear of which you are experiencing. Likewise, there is the connection, as you would know and understand in your own unique manner, of mind, emotional self, physical body and spirit. And if in the state of fear and uncertainty and confusion, this does then continue over a protracted length of time, this can indeed create physical illness and fatigue and lethargy. Perhaps then in turn may upset your digestive system and all manner of ill effects. What is then to be done to gently release oneself from this cycle of fear? We would offer to you, dear ones, that the first step does indeed lay within your understanding. Understanding the facts from the fiction, you see. Understanding what it is within you that has created this fear. What is it that you are reacting to? And having an understanding about this overall difficulty or situation or circumstances. And then gently taking the time, as best you can, once more to determine that which is fact, that which is reality, from that which is not. For of course, in a state of great fear, the mind has the potential to as our own dear one's expression would be, to grow arms and legs, you see. Thereby meaning that your own mind can embellish and can grow to huge proportions, especially when in a state of fear and lacking in understanding and clarity. Of course, there is the aspect of fear, fear of the unknown, fear of what may happen next. Are you going to be harmed, or are you going to be all well and good? And of course, as you know and understand, dear ones, that within passage of time of your life in the earthly incarnation, there is always uncertainty to varying degrees. Every day when you awaken, perhaps you would agree, there is uncertainty as to how the day may unfold. Of course, you may well have your engagements and plans and careers and so forth that you are focusing upon. And that life does indeed seem to have somewhat of a schedule or a routine. And this in turn can give a sense of stability and balance. But likewise, within all of this, there is still an uncertainty. You may be delayed as you journey to your place of work, or your appointment, or that which needs to be undertaken. Perhaps even within the home, you may be detained upon a lengthy telephone conversation. So there is always uncertainty, and change is ever present. But yet there is a gentle rhythm and once more a balance to daily life. But yet when perhaps circumstances one day change significantly, let us say an individual may be once more, we shall use as an example, traveling to their place of work. Or perhaps there may be a motor vehicle accident. And therefore you see circumstances, the unknown has taken effect, so to speak. And thereby, for those who are unfortunate enough to be involved in that motor vehicle accident, then are in the midst of their suffering and upset and shock and so forth. And likewise the aspect of fear, perhaps if there are injuries that are not fully known in that moment, perhaps an individual is conscious and has an awareness and in enormous physical pain, then likewise in turn there is a great fear that comes with that. And of course, once more, that is human nature. And in some respects, you see, the aspect of fear can be helpful, for indeed it does wish to safeguard you, so that you are not vulnerable and exposed. But yet it can work against you in creating a greater difficulty, you see. To appreciate this is a rather extreme example we have given, but one nevertheless born out of a desire to bring clarity to you and to our words that we offer to you this day. So you see, dear ones, with regard to this aspect of fear, it can indeed seem to be a very fine line upon occasion as to the way in which this is cultivated in your own mind and your own emotional selves. The aspect of fear of the unknown. But once more we say to you that upon any given occasion or circumstance, as best you can, to look at the facts as you know them to be before you. Decipher the facts from the fiction. For this will greatly assist you in terms of your own mind, maintaining a gentle balance as best as is possible. To take time to, once more as best you can if you wish to do so, look at the basis of your fear. Look at the foundations once more. Are they based on fact? Or are they based on fiction? Or based on the unknown which is yet to unfold? Likewise, dear ones, in the midst of that fear, as best you can be, to take time to breathe, to encourage balance within your thoughts. As best you can to navigate your way forward, based on the facts once more. And as best you can to put aside those aspects that are unknown, because truly they may unfold in a multitude of ways. And whilst we know and understand that for many in the earthly world there is a great desire to plan ahead and to be prepared mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and so forth. And whilst once more this can serve you very well indeed, then once again it can be a fine balance before it becomes even more challenging and difficult. For dear ones, whilst it is of great benefit to be as prepared as you can be in the face of your difficulty and fear of the unknown and so forth, it is, we feel, of vital importance that there is that aspect of freedom and movement within you to express and respond in the moment, you see. Let us say, for example, there may be an individual who has a difficult conversation and some information that they wish to express to another in the earthly world. And they plan and prepare and sit and consider, and everything is as clear as it can be in that individual's mind. They have planned for every eventuality, so to speak. And then, at whatever point they then come face to face with that other individual or several individuals, and they wish to undertake that and put into practice the preparation that they have made. But you see, because they do not know how that individual or group of individuals may respond, there is always going to be the aspect of the unknown and the fear of the unknown that cannot help but be made manifest. So therefore, whilst that preparation did indeed serve that individual to a point, it could not possibly serve in its entirety to be of benefit. For until that individual was there in the moment with the other individual or group of individuals, then the next step had not unfolded, so to speak, you see. So there would always be that aspect in the earthly world of the unknown and the fear that you may have of the unknown. And whilst using this example, that individual has prepared and they feel a sense of balance and stability, and this is most wonderful, there is a point at which they will then need to let go and move forward into that aspect of the unknown, to receive that which they are on the receiving end of from that individual or group of individuals, and then proceed accordingly once more. Of course, there is no precise science. Every single aspect of life in the earthly world, whether you do like it or not, is fluid, is moving in the moment. And once more, that aspect of change is ever present. And there is always going to be that uncertainty and fear of the unknown, once more to varying degrees. But remember, dear ones, that within the face of it, you have a great, great power. You are a great, great power. And even though that may be those occasions where you feel particularly frail in your emotional self and in your thoughts, and perhaps you feel so in your whole being, we remind you most gently, but nevertheless most passionately, that the spirit within you, your divine light, has the power and the capacity to face any challenge, to face any fear, to face all that it does in your earthly physical incarnation. We remind you once more to take a moment, to take time to look at how far you have come. Look at how far you have traveled. Look at what you have overcome and the ways in which you did that on many, many occasions. You see, the reality of fear is that, in the most part, it is without foundation, you see. It is an energetic vibration that wishes to attach, we use this word carefully, but you see, to attach to circumstances and difficulties and situations within your lives, and once more to then grow and to become a greater difficulty. Therefore, dear ones, we say again to be mindful. Mindful that when you are gripped in the embrace of that fear, to take time to breathe, and as best you can to soften your thoughts, filter and process, as the modern word and terminology is, to process facts from the fiction, to engage with the power of the spirit within you to help you to move forward, to take action, if action is indeed required, by your own design, by your own choice and free will. For as with many aspects in the earthly world, we do once more speak of the aspect of balance. Once more, focusing upon this aspect of fear, if it were the case that individuals in the earthly world were completely fearless and did indeed stride out into their lives, and equally there could be a greater difficulty before them. If indeed it is the case they feel that they shall not be able to be harmed, then perhaps they may indeed decide upon, or rather make careless decisions and choices. Once more, let us use the example of a motor vehicle. Perhaps an individual may think, nothing shall ever happen to me, and I shall speed very quickly along this road. And the aspect of fear does not have any resonance for them, and they stride forward. Once more, you could say they have embodied the aspect of fate. They're a fatalist, that whatever may occur, and so be it. But then you see at the other end of the spectrum, still using this as an example, there may be an individual who may be so racked with fear, it has grown enormously within their mind and their emotional self that they may look out of their window from their own home and see their own motor vehicle and feel that they are too frightened to ever sit behind the wheel and travel from one location to another, for fear of injury to themselves or others, or whatever their thoughts within their own minds may happen to be. Therefore, using these examples, we can see very clearly, we hope, how those two more extreme examples of fearlessness and of great fear can in turn create greater problems for those individuals. So therefore, once more, we encourage you in the aspect of balance. And that when you do feel that sense of fear beginning to weigh down heavily upon you, perhaps in your emotional self and in your thoughts within the mind, and how they do indeed manifest and grow, be mindful of this, dear ones. Gather all the information that you can in regard to whatever is creating the fear. Once more, looking at the facts and the fiction, deciphering for yourselves which is which, or in the absence of information or facts, to very gently set about obtaining the facts as best you can. For as we have spoken of previously, dear ones, and as you are aware in your own unique understanding as individuals, the very great power that you have within your minds to hold you in a particular way of thinking, or a particular understanding, or a particular way of living or of being, sometimes can create further difficulties. To be locked into one's own head, so to speak. We encourage you all, dear ones, once more, when there is great fear or other emotion and difficulty about you, to express this, to share of your fears, your concerns with those that you love and that you trust in the earthly world. Perhaps for some you may choose to visit a psychotherapist or a counselor, as the modern terminology is, in order that you may express your fears, your concerns, your troubles. But as we understand it very much, When you are able to communicate and express, this cannot help but create a gentle shift energetically, a release, a movement, and this is most wonderful. There is a sense of that as we become unburdened, then a greater clarity can continue to grow, you see. We say to you, dear ones, most passionately, do not be frightened to seek assistance, professional or otherwise, from those in the earthly world. There is nothing to be ashamed of. It does not mean that you are any less of a person because there is this sense of struggle or difficulty. Whilst, of course, many in the earthly world judge each other, and there is very much a theory that the aspect of embodying a stiff upper lip, so to speak, especially those this expression rather is connected very significantly with those British citizens, so to speak, and that the burdens and challenges and difficulties and struggles of life are held in such a manner as to proceed forward no matter what. And once more, whilst this is most honourable and we do not cast any judgment from our world, we understand there are nevertheless those occasions whereby this does not serve in a particularly positive manner. But what occurs for those individuals is simply this. They store up a great deal of upset and trauma and stress and fear and so forth, whilst they maintain their focus to the horizon, to move forward, to continue to live their lives, to bury everything else, so to speak, within. And truly for these individuals there is indeed a great amount of fear, which of course is perfectly understandable. And so they choose to move forward, or perhaps some would say they would choose to run, because they do not wish to acknowledge their hurt and their trauma, their emotional upset, perhaps which is historic from many years previous. And once more, those individuals who feel in the earthly world that that is the last thing they would wish to do, to seek help. But nevertheless, dear ones, we say, and gently encourage you to do exactly that, to unburden yourselves, to liberate yourselves, to release your fears, your emotional traumas and wounds. You do not need to carry such pain, such suffering. Truly it is your own choice as to that which you carry and that which you allow to very gently release. You may wonder how it is possible to release. And once more, as we have spoken previously in a different context, the key to this release, so to speak, is with acceptance. Acceptance of that which has occurred in your earthly physical incarnation. to gently arrive at an understanding within your mind and your heart and your very being that that which did occur was a reality. It was, quite rightly and understandably, enormously painful. But yet you have moved through that. The lesson has been learned, so to speak, and the residue of which is left of that emotional and mental trauma is that which you carry. And perhaps there lies the greatest lesson of all, to release it, to set it free, to let go. And we understand, dear ones, that in the act of letting go, there can be a great sense of vulnerability, of uncertainty, and likewise in turn perhaps a new fear. What shall happen next? How shall I be? How shall I exist? What if I am not the person that I used to be? But yet, dear ones, you evolve all the time. None of you are the person that you used to be. From day to day, week to week, month to month, and year to year. Take a moment, if you will, to consider that which was occurring in your life, perhaps some 10 years previous, and who you were and what was occurring, and your own thoughts and beliefs and behaviors and so forth, your way of life, and draw a comparison with that now. See, you are truly not the same individual. You have grown, you have evolved, you have changed. Perhaps in many ways, perhaps in a few ways. It is only between you and your own God as to what those changes and what that growth entailed. Therefore, dear ones, once more, in those times of great need and great crisis, we encourage you to reach out, to communicate, to take the next step forward to your liberation, to your freedom. The gift within you, within your divine light of acceptance, is most powerful. And likewise, gift of forgiveness, to forgive and to invite healing to the trauma that may be about you, and to those others who perhaps you were engaged with in the earthly world, who you feel to be as a result of that trauma or that difficulty, to arrive at a point of true forgiveness is most glorious, most exquisite. For once more, in the act of true forgiveness, you are letting go. You are making peace with yourself and with the other individual or individuals concerned or circumstance of which you are focused upon, that which created the initial fear and hurt and trauma. It is all possible, dear ones, even in the face, once more, of great fear, where you feel completely, as we stated earlier in our words this day, frozen to the spot. There is always a way forward. You are not alone. The resources of which you have are in plentiful supply, even though you may not feel this to be the case in any shape, manner or form. Let us assure you that it is our understanding, without wishing to be overbearing in any manner, but truly to bring forward our encouragement and reassurance to say to you most clearly, you have all that you need within you to release your fears and hurts and emotional wounds and trauma and so forth. We too have lived in the earthly world. We too have endured much suffering and upset and fear, mostly at the hands of another, through the duration of the physical earthly incarnation. And that was all well and good and part of our own evolution, you see. And now at this stage in our own evolution in this world, the spiritual realms, we can see and have a broader understanding as to why those events occurred and the way in which we responded, and in turn that which was made manifest as a result. We acknowledge once more, dear ones, that we know it is not easy at all to face all these difficulties and lessons that you do in the earthly world that seem to come one after another. Or perhaps for some there is a passage of many years where you feel a sense of ease and balance and so forth, and then once more in the blink of an eye circumstances do change, and then you face before you a great adversity, a great challenge. But nevertheless, whatever the circumstances, dear ones, we say to you in conclusion, as best you can in all respects, focus upon the light and the power that you are. Focus upon fact from fiction. Focus upon inviting an opportunity to be still, to breathe. When you are gripped in your own despair and your own suffering, as best you can, to breathe and to know that these emotions, these fears, they shall subside. The power that this fear contains, as it builds and builds and builds, then does reach its peak and then cannot help but subside. But of course, the aspect of further release, to dissolve this, to let go, can indeed, quite understandably, take time to achieve. But also we understand, dear ones, that certain thought processes and behaviors through the passage of time can then become compounded, whereby you have an awareness and an understanding in your own mind and your own self that perhaps There are thoughts that you have which are of that which you would deem to be a more destructive nature, but yet they perhaps have become so ingrained and habitual that you feel that you cannot stop engaging with those thoughts, even if it is your truest desire to do exactly that. But once more, dear ones, we say to you, truly, the power that you have, the power that you are, can transform your thoughts, and likewise can transform these habitual patterns with your own open heart and mind and your own willingness to embrace yourself in every respect, to accept that which has occurred and the consequences of the actions that you may have taken in the earthly incarnation in the face of difficulties, or the actions perhaps which you were on the receiving end of from another. To accept, dear ones, once more that that which has gone before it has gone, and that the residue that remains is held there at your own choice. But once more, at any given opportunity, there is always the potential to release this, to invite healing, to seek those once more in the earthly world, if it is your desire to do so, to help you, so that you may share and communicate and express. And then, dear ones, you see, in the face of a greater positive change, and as this release occurs of this trauma, the positive momentum cannot help but continue to grow and build. And then truly it is the case that as you look back once more at that which you have travelled through, you can then fully acknowledge within yourself and understand even more so that you have come out of the other end, so to speak, as you would say in your modern terminology, that you have released through the act of your own acceptance and forgiveness and a genuine desire to move forward once more as best you can in your earthly lives, to embrace the newness of the day that is before you, and knowing that as you do so, your own divine light within rejoices and says thank you for the way in which you have helped yourself, the way in which your understanding of self has grown, and likewise the way in which, through the gifts of the Spirit of which you all possess, in turn you are able to assist others in their challenges and difficulties. Not to solve them for them, of course, that is not appropriate, but to offer your own assistance where appropriate and how appropriate, that which you deem to be the case. Truly now, in conclusion, dear ones, we say to you that the power of fear cannot grip you and cannot hold you unless you allow it to do so. Be mindful of your thoughts and the way in which that aspect of fear can color your mind and your emotion and yourselves and your lives. But know once more that the power that you are of the divine is more radiant and exquisite than the blessed sunshine that you know in the sky above you. The light is almost too bright to look at, to witness, but yet the power of it can be felt enormously. Engage with it, dear ones, if it is your desire to do so. For once more, this power that you are and that you have does indeed have the power to dissolve and to transform darkness into light most beautifully. Dear ones, we thank you for your engagement this day, for your open hearts and minds, for the love and the blessed vibration of your own divine light, your spirit within, of which you have freely engaged with by your own choice. We bring our blessings to you in great abundance and enfold our love around you, if it is your desire to receive it. Know that we continue to walk exactly by your side, very closely, forever bringing our encouragement as you continue to live your lives and awaken even more so to the eternal power and the light that you are, your spirit. We shall now step back from our own dear one, and it only remains for us to say to each of you once more, it has been most delightful, truly, to spend this time together, to engage with you, our dear, treasured beloveds, each and every one of you. And we greatly look forward to our next happy meeting together. And until then, dear ones, cultivate that power of light within you. Engage in that which is wholesome and filled with joy and love in the earthly world as best that you can, if you wish to do so. Continue to make each day count, and sharing all your light and your power. Bless you, dear ones. We shall now wish you a good day, or good evening, or morning. I will just now conclude our time together in prayer. So let's just take a moment as we sit together in that beautiful power and stillness and light, all woven with love for each of us. As we say, Divine Spirit, Mother Earth, Father God, as we come together in prayer, in our thoughts and our intentions and our love, we offer our deepest gratitude for this time that we've been able to share together, for the way in which your power has gently, tenderly embraced us. And we ask now, please, Divine Spirit, that this blessed light and love and healing power be sent out to the earthly world, dear Mother Earth, to coat the whole planet in your light and your love, and not dissimilar from droplets of rain that fall from the sky, but every single droplet of light helps to bring light and healing to our world, to humanity, to the animals, to the natural world, the beautiful trees and plants, and to all life, the creatures of the seas and the skies, from the tiniest to the largest. And we also think of our own beloveds, our families and friends, those in our hearts and our minds, those who we know at this time really do need so much healing for whatever it is that need or needs may be. We ask, Divine Spirit, that you gently, lovingly, tenderly embrace them all and help them. Help them to feel your closeness and your comfort, your love, your reassurance for better days to come. We think of those from all different walks of life also, and who may be suffering such a variety of ways. Once more we ask, Divine Spirit, that they are all held in your embrace most gently, and that your light and your power helps them to move forward as best they can in their lives. We thank you also for the beauty of our world. Let us not forget it. that even though there is so much difficulty and suffering, likewise there is the balance of joy and happiness, of celebration, and once more beauty. We ask Divine Spirit that you please continue to help us to lift our eyes and our hearts and our minds and our whole being to the heavens. Help us to move forward in light, in love, releasing our fears as best we can to continue to awaken. To evolve and to reach enlightenment in accordance with the divine plan of our lives. We thank you for the miracle that it is that our dear ones from your world are able to communicate with us, are able to draw close to Mother Earth and to us as individuals. That you love us so very much, and that within that love all things are possible. And finally, Divine Spirit, we thank you for the nourishment that we have received today in spending this time together. To be able to sit in your blessed presence. We thank you from every part of our being. For the abundance that we have. In every way, even in once more the face of our difficulties and of our suffering. We thank you that as the new day dawns, that there lies within it opportunity, in so many different ways, once more to continue to evolve and awaken. We thank you, Divine Spirit. Most deeply. Amen. Oh, excuse me, friends. I do hope that you've enjoyed this time together and you've taken from it something of benefit and something that will hopefully be of assistance to you and to others. You know, it really is, as I do like to acknowledge, just wonderful to be able to come together. My spirit friends and I are just overjoyed to be able to do so. It really is lovely, and we really do hope that, excuse me, we really do hope that all is well and good for you, and that even in the face of all these difficulties and challenges that we have in our lives, and the suffering, that there are also those times, hopefully in abundance and plentiful, of great joy and happiness and laughter. But just know how closely you are loved and treasured and adored by your beloveds and your spirit friends, your companions. It's just amazing, isn't it, that this is how it is. This is a reality. So let's continue to give it our best, do what we can, be kind to ourselves and each other and the wider world, and step forward as best we can. So, dear friends, until next time, do take care, be safe, and as best you can, enjoy the sunshine. It's a lovely sunny day today. And until we join together once more again, God bless, and we send lots of love to each and every one of you.